Yes, it's time to talk about MiCAR, the Markets and Crypto Assets Regulation, the regulation for everything that has to do with crypto assets within the EU. And I want to focus today a bit on financial institutions because we have some special exemptions in the MiCAR for financial institutions and also some opportunities which you might be not aware of right now if you're not really deep dive the MiCAR yet. I can just recommend doing that because we will go through that, but at some points the MiCAR is kind of surprising and has some things open to discussion. But maybe a couple of words to intas.tech. So intas.tech is a strategy consultancy focusing on blockchain and digital assets for the financial industry. So we are there for the strategic assessment of blockchain use cases, for the implementation of all the applications you need to handle digital assets into the existing IT infrastructures and process landscapes. And we are a joint venture between the Frankfurt School and Plutonio Consulting, which is a medium-sized classic consultancy. And yes, we are actually dealing quite a lot with MiCAR right now in different contexts. So we already deep dived a bit this whole thing or the whole new regulation for CRR Credit Institute. So we are quite aware of a couple of things. Okay, maybe to start, to just give a wrap up about what MiCAR is about. I'm sure most of you already know that. So the MiCAR is actually the EU regulatory framework for crypto assets, and it defines crypto assets and it defines what crypto assets are actually subject to MiCAR, and it defines what crypto asset services are subject to MiCAR. And it actually introduced an authorization need for these crypto asset services, which you will not go away with if you want to be able to offer crypto asset services within the EU. And you say on the right side is the transfer fund regulation. It's not always mentioned, but it's actually, well, it will be applicable in parallel with MiCAR. And it will be also be, companies will be affected by this regulation if you are offering transfer services of crypto assets. So for example, if you're a crypto custodian and you transfer crypto assets from one wallet to another, this is a transfer service. So, and you will be subject under the transfer fund regulation as well. So this is something you need to keep in mind because these both regulations are actually really built on each other. So just that you already heard that. But since we want to focus a bit on the crypto asset service provider side and what financial institutions can do in the whole field, we now need to have a look first what crypto asset services are actually subject under MiCAR. And on the left side, you see the whole issuance case. So what are crypto assets under MiCAR? What are the definitions? So we have these e-money token space, the asset reference token space. We will not focus on today because it's a whole another topic if you want to go in the issuance part. You have the crypto assets, so actually like Bitcoin, etc. You have the utility token. Also, there are some expansions we need to take care of. What is not in general regulated under MiCAR is the NFT thing, but here you need to be careful because also it depends a bit how you characterize your NFT. And as already said, I think in the panel beforehand, digital securities are not under MiCAR. Okay, we are really talking about the crypto asset space. And every service which is actually doing something with the crypto assets, so really with Bitcoin and co, let's say it this way. And you see the list, and this list is actually one-to-one from MiCAR. Okay, these are the services which will be subject under MiCAR and which need an authorization under MiCAR. And we try to translate it a bit into the functions we know from the traditional financial markets. Okay, for example, We know it from the BaFin, the providing custody and administration of crypto assets on behalf of the client is the classic crypto custodian. So if you think about execution of orders for crypto assets on behalf of clients, would be the financial commissioner business. So, and all these different services, so we just put it here on this slide. So you have actually, we put these 10 crypto services and just translated it a bit so make it more clear what kind of function are actually subject under MiCAR. And the MiCAR has some requirements, and we know these requirements pretty well, or most of them, from the MiFID II. So it's at some points really close to the MiFID II requirements for securities. And you have requirements for all these crypto asset services which apply for all these crypto asset services. And you see them here listed below. It's in Title 5, Chapter 2. You can read that, and you will notice, if you're familiar with the MiFID II, there are a lot of things kind of copy-paste. But don't be too sure if you're a financial institution which is already MiFID II compliant, because there are always some additional things you need to fulfill. There are some exceptions. There are some things which you need to fulfill differently. And then you have obligations for your specific crypto service. So you have specific requirements for being a custodian. You have specific requirements for actually managing a trading platform, for example. And these requirements are not necessarily similar with what the national regulator is requiring from you. So I think this needs to be kept in mind when we are talking about MiCAR, and especially when it comes to financial institutions, because we had the feeling in the market that some feel a little bit too comfortable with being already regulated under national law or under European law. When we think about the MiFID, it's not just transferable under MiCAR. So you really need to have a look at what kind of things you need to fulfill. For example, you need to put your cost policy on your website. It's not the same under MiCAR, or under MiFID. Under MiFID, you have a standard documentation you need to send to your client before you're actually doing the trade, for example. Here, you need now to have it on your website. So you need to think a little bit about how do you want to structure your cost policy. You have for the crypto custodian, you have some other requirement when it comes, for example, for settlement reporting, when it comes to providing a registry. In the investment brokerage case, this is a really important thing, because in Germany we have this, how do you call that in English? The Haftungsdach, the Germans know what I mean, regulation, and it's not part of the MiCAR. So you can not transfer your, how do you say that, if you're working for a bigger company and use the license of the company, it's not possible under MiCAR anymore. So at the very end, if you're an investment broker doing that, so just using a license from a bigger company, it will not be possible under MiCAR right now. So maybe there will be in Q&A, maybe there will be something, I don't know, but at the moment, it's not part of it. So even if you're just doing the investment brokerage, so just routing the order of your client in another name on another account, it would be subject to MiCAR. But we also have some opportunities. We also want to talk about the opportunities. And the opportunities come a bit when we talk about the authorization process, because here the MiCAR differentiates between companies which need to be authorized, and we have certain financial entities, that's what they call it, who don't need to go under the authorization process. We just need to go on a notification procedure. And this is actually something really it's a good thing because you could be quite quick with financial institution, but you also need to provide all the information you would need to provide in an authorization process. But you don't need to wait for authorization. Okay, you just notify, and it depends on what financial institution or financial entity you are, because if you're a CRR credit institute, for example, you can do basically everything you're allowed to do with crypto assets. So if you're allowed to do it in a traditional way, you're allowed to do it with crypto assets. If you are an investment firm, for example, you're not. You're just allowed to do the things you're actually right now allowed to do in the traditional context. So under MiFID, for example, you can do it under MiCAR. But not, you could, for example, not provide custody just like that. So therefore, you would need an authorization from under MiCAR. But if you're a credit institute, you can just go with the notification procedure. And this is actually quite a good solution, I guess, because they are already highly regulated. And if you are a company actually already providing crypto asset services, and you're regulated under GIM law, for example, or you're registered in France or whatsoever, there could be different facilitation for you in receiving the MiCAR authorization. There could be a grandfathering rule, so the final decision will take place end of June. That's why I could not say there will be. Every state decides on that itself. And there could be a simplified approval process. Now, so that is really under decision of every EU member state itself. But there are some exceptions you need to have in mind, especially as a financial institution, because the whole thing we had with the crypto custodian license in Germany, that you need to wait so long to have the final approval, it won't be the case under MiCAR when you're a credit institution, for example, because you can do this business under your existing license. So, and this is quite a good thing, but you also need to take care not only for you to be MiCAR compliant, to go on the notification procedure, to get the authorization, but you also, it's not your responsibility, but kind of, you need to make sure that your partners you're working with, so maybe your crypto custodian or your trading platform or your broker, are MiCAR compliant. So actually, it's a whole value chain. So when one crypto asset is fallen under MiCAR, the whole value chain needs to be MiCAR compliant. It doesn't stop by you, and you cannot like put the arms in the air and say, yeah, but I'm MiCAR compliant, I don't care if my partner is. No, that doesn't work. So, and you see it's quite a lot. The only one who are actually just beside that are the technology providers. So when you're a pure technology provider, you would not fall under MiCAR, but anyone else would. So that's why we have now October. It's quite a process to get all the documentation done, to be sure that your systems are able to fulfill MiCAR requirements, etc., have all the information ready for the application or for the notification procedure, and making sure that your partners you're working with right now are also so. It takes some time. So, and I think when you have a look at the whole process landscape, which will be subject to MiCAR, we should not waste time in with just going through it and saying we will have a look when all RTS are there. It would not be enough. Yeah, so this is actually what I was just emphasizing what I just said, because the timeline is quite tough. And as I said, in June 13th, that's like a date where all the RTS, so all the clarification should be there, and then you actually need to already be prepared to have your application ready or your notification procedure. So it should not be the starting date. I could not recommend to do that. And what we are doing, maybe real quick, we are helping with that, like getting ready on that, doing the impact analysis, so what needs to be done, what is actually applicable for the institution or for the company, what kind of things do you need to check legally, etc. And we are helping with that, so you don't need to give everything to your lawyer. And we are working quite well with the internal departments, etc. So this is how we are helping. But the key message is, don't underestimate the effort, and you should start soon, especially as a financial institution, but also as someone who has no MiFID documentation. So it doesn't help anyway. Yeah, that's the key message for today.